discussion on this. It's referred to as the mind, and then there's the question is, what is the mind? The mind is not the brain, but the mind actually exists out here. It doesn't exist in there. It's like sometimes called the universal mind, or all great minds think alike, how things are communicated inside the mind. And one of the things that happens to alcoholics is we our minds become defective. Um, they called it defects of character, but I think which is a little moral interpretation. I think it's more simply defective thinking, so that um, we the purpose of the mind is to protect the self or the person. So whenever you walk into a bad neighborhood, you start getting bad feelings about it. That's the mind working overtime, like, wait a minute, watch out for this, watch out for that. Or you're walking in the woods and you see bear tracks and you go, there might be a grizzly bear here. And you start becoming cautious. So with defective thinking in the alcoholic, um, so we start to address defects of character, and the mind will rear its ugly head. Some people call it the ego, and it'll say, wait a minute, we need that. That's protecting us. So let's say that would be, I judge, I make a lot of judgments about people that I don't like. So, and then in AA, we start to learn that maybe judging people is not such a great way to go. But the defective mind will say, oh no, we need to judge these people because when we were drinking, we had to judge people in the bar, on the street, so we didn't get killed or beat up. I mean, that's just an example. So if anything looks like that in this meeting, let's say I look like that. Uh-oh, wait a minute, watch it. He is a threat. Wait, what is he talking about? He wants me to take down these defenses, but they've served me well. We don't think of it on the conscious level. What we think is, you know what, Jann is a jerk, and I've got to get away from him and that meeting because something went wrong. And that's the the defects of character come right in there, and that's what stops people in recovery for ever getting well. And in here, somebody just left. They didn't like my rant, or did they? And I always use you as a good example because you somehow your mind doesn't start clashing all around in there.
Yeah.
Or
I
you
don't
have
know
good
why.
coping skills or something.
Yeah, I just don't
Are you a scientist or what are you? Or no?
no, I was an accountant. I'm an accountant, accounting finance.
Oh, well, there you go. That would be it right there. You
Yeah,
add this up, add that up, it goes,
that's
makes
right.
sense.
That's right. Correct.
Okay, let's see here. So, I'm gonna make
And Lisa's here.
this girl, I'm gonna make her. So what we're gonna do with Lisa is you're gonna help train Lisa and um and where's Sam, because they're the only two that have computers that work, so they can paste stuff and kind of follow along. So I'll let you like text with them and as we're going, and we'll let like maybe how do we do this? Maybe Sam can change names today, and Lisa can admit or both change names. You you will be the
Good.
Do you
behind
want
the
me to admit or cut and paste?
admit and change names both. Okay, and change your name too. The fact that you're the greeter or the glommer or the greeter. Uh, and let's see what else. So we'll have you two guys be co-hosts today, and Matt's going to be the host. He'll run everything and kind of show you what we do. So sometimes when we mention things like um, we start talking about something, you'll notice Matt will reach into the Google Docs and paste it as what we're talking about. Sometimes some people are really fast. He's getting faster, so you can be fast too, Lisa and Sam. You can grab that. Okay, what is he talking about? Step 6. Okay, where is it? And you punch it up there. And then sometimes I'll say, if you follow along in chat, you can see what we're talking about, and it's a way to have the whole class move forward. Maybe. Hey, Lisa, did you read what I wrote in what's this thing called? Wake up, Jann. Come on. In Telegram. Or are you reading it now? Did you read it, Sam? What I wrote in Telegram?
Which one, earlier or right
No.
now? I've been going through right now. Let me see.
Well, I mean, the long text is, yeah.
Oh, the long text. Oof. Uh,
Just read it.
okay, I'll read it right now.
Okay, and same with you, Lisa, because I think we're going to probably talk about this today. It's more of six steps stuff, 6, 7. But then it's how to. I think what I was talking about the day that Preston and Cassie left, I was talking about how do you actualize 6 and 7. And the way that we actualize it is in, you can let these guys in. Never admitted. Want me to turn the bell on, or I'll turn the bell on and you can know when they're here. Um, I'll admit. Um, the way that we actually actualize 6 and 7 is by doing step 10, 11, and 12, but more so identifying what am I operating out of defect? And I was just talking with Matt about this, but I'll say it again. We operate out of defect. See, we don't even know we have these things. And then, but they start popping up. Like one defective thinking, or I like to call them operating principles. This isn't just me either. The people have written about this at great length. And one of the defective operating principles would be I am always judgmental of people and I speak my mind, and if I don't like what they're doing, I'm going to tell you and everybody else about it. So in an AA, we say, okay, love and tolerance is our code. So if we start operating out of love and tolerance rather than I have an opinion about everything and I'm going to tell you just what I think, when we start operating out of love and tolerance, it creates a huge conflict inside of us and inside of our ego and mind. And the purpose of the mind is to protect the self of who we are. And it's developed over the years so that when we're walking in the woods and we see grizzly bear tracks, the mind will immediately go, oh, grizzly bear tracks, I better watch out. There might be a bear around the corner. For alcoholics, the mind will decide, I better watch out what I do here. This is a dark street. This is a bad bar. Um, I have to be careful. Wait, watch what that person's saying. Don't trust that person. Um, you know, let yourself be known here. So when we start doing steps 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12, the mind will say, that is a threat. That's opposite of the way I operate. This is a threat to me, and I need to get out of here. This person's crazy. I'm leaving. And that's what defective thinking does. It and this group, as I was talking to Lisa, but she just got up and walked right out of the room on cue, as I was talking about. That's when we get up and get out of Dodge, and then there she was. Hello, we can unmute her, but her dog will be
I
barking
can
at
still
us.
hear you.
Oh, okay,
I
all right.
had to turn the light on.
I know, no problem. So that's what I wrote about in that text, which was that's when people get really confronted. Now, so like I was saying to Matt, I said Matt seems to have a good. He's been coming here for over 9 months, not having visceral reactions to anything. And one of the things when we talk with Matt, he's always talking about how he does 10, 11, and 12 every day, how he reads through that and works through the process. And that process, what that process does is allows us to unwind our defects of character. We start to see them. So the and in this group, we're moving right along here. Some people take years and years and years to get to their what the defect is and stop operating out of it. There are some AA groups where people get right to it and they do really well. Other groups they never get to it. So anyways, let's see who's here. Emily, hi, how are you? Hey, Emily, good to see you. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Uh,
good. You look like you're about to rob a bank, though.
you're back from Georgia.
Yes.
When do the peaches come into when do they like in season in Georgia?
Not now.
Okay, just checking.
Did you
Because
hear me? You look like you're about to rob a bank.
oh, will you stop? Rob a no, I'm not that kind of person. That's not true. I have this is my Christmas hat. See?
The writing was cut off on the top. I just saw black everywhere.
Okay, just fine. Aaron, stop laughing. Oh, hey, Aaron, did you get your other book? How's it going?
No, I have not yet.
Oh, it's gonna arrive tomorrow. I just got a notice.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Jan. That was really thoughtful of you.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You know
It
why?
was. Why?
It's Christmas.
Woo!
I know. Okay, let's see. Let's go to Sean. Hey, Sean, how are you? Where are you calling from today, and how long have you been sober?
I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sure thing. Yeah. And how long are you sober?
I've been sober 119 days today.
119 days. Chicago, welcome to Newcomers Slipper Step Workshop. Glad you're
Thank
here.
you.
Look at this. Joe in Boston, actually able to change her name. Joe, congratulations. Um, coming into the 21st century and
Oh, thank you.
getting that computer to behave. Right. Glad you're here. Ryan, excuse me. Hey, Ryan, how are you? Where are you calling from today and how long are you sober? Jan to Ryan.
Hi, I'm coming
Hey.
from Johnstown, Colorado.
Oh, there you are. Oh, you were here yesterday.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, okay, cool.
About a week and a half.
All right, 1.5 weeks. Johnstown. Glad you're here. Hey, Naaman, how are you? Stacy's here. And there's Rebecca. She has a new dog picture. Oh my God. Is today Thursday? No. Tomorrow is Thursday. And then tomorrow's when we have more dog pictures. Okay. Oh. Who has would somebody look up who has the as Bill sees it? I didn't look it up. You do. Would you look up defects? Do we have a section on defect? No, let me look it up. Defects of character.
I don't see it. There's
You don't see it?
dependence and depression.
Let's not talk about depression. That'll be depressing. That was a joke.
There's character defects. I'm
Oh, there is. Where's that?
under C, the first one on page V. There's a lot of them.
Did we do character defects here? Does anybody remember?
Not when I've been here. that
You,
I'm aware.
where, it's under V, did you say?
Well, it's like it's in the beginning table of contents under topics.
I know, but what letter?
C,
Oh,
character.
C. Oh, character defects. Yeah. Okay. Let's start. So let's read backwards. 327, 325, 311, 301, 381, 258, Matt, and 216. Okay. So,
Yep.
and then put a link up to the book. Don't put them up yet. Yeah, so the way we do it, Lisa, is Matt's going to show you. He's going to put a link to the book up, and then he's going to put all the pages up, but we're not going to do that until we do all the reading. So otherwise it just gets lost. And let's see. Hey, Brian, hi, how are you? Are you here? You here for the AA meeting? And where are you calling from today? Jann to Brian.
From California. Yes, I'm here for the meeting.
And good. And how long you been sober?
I was just gonna look at my app. I think it's been about 6 days.
Okay, 6 days. All right. California. And then let's put that, repost that thing that tells everybody what we're doing. So every time a new person comes on, they can't see it. They can't see anything that we're doing. That's the interesting thing about chat. Somebody new comes in, they see nothing. We have to start all over again. Hey, Zoom user, hi, how are you? Where are you calling from today, and how long have you been sober?
I'm from Maryland, and it's been 15 months.
Did you say 15 or 16?
15.
Okay, and what's your first name?
Ronald.
Ronald. All right, Ronald, welcome to Newcomers Slippers.
Thank you.
Step workshop. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, so I think we can let's see now. We'll have Lisa, you know how to put everything up, right? You want to put everything up for reading, and then we'll let Matt read. And Matt has everything to read over on the side. So, and everybody, I'm going to turn your cameras on in just a second here. Hang on for 1 sec. Oh, I see. Somehow I left unmute on, or did somebody turn it unmute on? That was a mistake. When you guys turn unmute on, we don't do that here. Start video. Okay, you can start your video now. And over to you, Matt.
Okay, man alcoholic. Welcome to Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop. If you're new to AA or coming back, this meeting is for you. This group is exactly what the name says, a workshop. We read 5 AA books, work the steps, sponsor you, give writing and reading assignments. We'll teach you an AA program. We move right along here and people get well here. Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop is a step workshop. Unlike most AA meetings, it's not a speaker's meeting nor a discussion meeting. It's more like an AA class, AA 101. You want to have the attitude of learning, do the assigned reading and writing on the steps. We'll take it through the steps and AA books in short order. So if you're looking for guidance and direction in an AA program, this meeting is for you. Security for Newcomer Slipper Step Workshop. We use the waiting room. When you come in, we ask your first name, last initial, country or city, and how long you've been sober. We have chat turned off. You can chat with the host or co-host. Unmute is turned off. Cameras and pictures are turned off at the beginning of each meeting, and we turn them on later. We don't exchange phone numbers. You can get the number of the host for text and support. Here's our email for meeting confirmation, stepworkshop1@gmail.com. And this is good for school, class, work, probation, court orders, etc. And there's a link to the meeting in chat. We do all of the above for safety reasons. Since everyone's new here, we want to protect you. Zoom bombers try to get in, and the above eliminates them. You'll notice this is a step workshop and not a speakers or discussion meeting. It's like a class, AA 101, AA University. It's a very unique meeting since we use the same principles AA used between 1932 and 1939. Everybody works in the group and moves through the 12 steps to live our lives free from alcohol and learn a new way of living. Glad you could make it. Announcements. AA in this meeting is supported by our own contributions to 7 Traditions. You can make donations to @Jann-Scott in Venmo. Contributions go to pay for Zoom. We make monthly donations to Boulder 1 AA and Boulder County AA. We spend about $250 a month. This group meets daily with the following formats. Monday's step meeting, 12 and 12, Meme Monday. Tuesday's Big Book, T-shirt Tuesday, AA inspired as preferred. Wednesday as Bill sees it, and it's Sunglass Wednesday. Thursday's Beginners, steps 1, 2, or 3, or any beginner-related topic, and it's Dog Thursday. Friday's Open, the chair picks the topic, and it's Cat Friday. Saturday, Living Sober, Virtual Background Day, and Sunday, Daily Reflections, Fashion Sunday. Please join me in the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We're self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And there's a link to the Newcomers packet in chat. For newcomers, please come to our meeting 5 days and see how you like it. We'll put you to work. Please introduce yourself as an alcoholic when speaking. And with that, back to you, Jann, in the studio.
I'm laughing at Rebecca's sunglasses. Thank you. So, hey, everybody. Hi, welcome to Newcomers Slipper Step Workshop. So today we're going to read about character defects. And Matt, I think, is going to put up the pages. We're going to read in a link to the book, As Bill Sees It, which we read on Wednesdays. And then the topic is character defects. And you're putting up the pages, right? Okay. And then put the topic up too. There it is. Character defects. Okay, so who has the book? Beautiful. Okay, so Stacy, we'll let you start with we're going to work backwards today. 327. It's the name of a very famous Chevrolet engine.
Alrighty. Excuse me, Stacy, alcoholic. 3 choices. The immediate object of our quest is sobriety, freedom from alcohol and from all its baleful consequences. Without this freedom, we have nothing at all. Paradoxically, though, we can achieve no liberation from the alcohol obsession until we become willing to deal with those character defects which have landed us in that helpless condition. In this freedom quest, we are always given 3 choices. A rebellious refusal to work upon our glaring defects can be an almost certain ticket to destruction. Or perhaps for a time, we can stay sober with a minimum of self-improvement and settle ourselves into a comfortable but often dangerous mediocrity. Or finally, we can continuously try hard for those sterling qualities that can add up to fineness of spirit and action, true and lasting freedom under God. Grapevine, November 1960.
See, we were talking about this a little earlier. So a rebellious refusal to work upon our glaring defects can be an almost certain ticket to destruction. So a lot of people never work on their defects of character. And the question is, what is a defective character, or what is defective thinking? And in this group, we actually get right to it. Once you finish here, steps 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, and 9, then the real work becomes identifying what my defective thinking is and then how to process it out of our mind. Defective thinking is thinking that says it's kind of a defense mechanism. So if you're used to going to a bar and they're always fighting in the bar, defective thinking will say, we're going to sit in a corner bar stool, not talk to anybody, and try to stay out of the way of flying chairs. That was one of my defects. Okay, then we bring that into reality. So whenever I'm with a group of people, I'll always sit in the corner, my back against the wall, and I'm looking out for flying chairs. Well, that's not exactly the way to go through life. So in AA, we try to undo this defective thinking. The problem is that the mind has already established that kind of behavior to protect the self or the body. So when we decide we're going to change that kind of behavior, Jeff, the mind says, no, 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 we're not doing that. So if you come to a meeting like this and we say, okay, what's your go-to defective thinking, defective action? And I ask you that in this group, and you're like, what is he fucking talking about? We're not talking about this. And I'm not going to tell you either, because you're a threat. Oh, you know what? I feel threatened. Not only that, I'm leaving. The worst outcome of that, the worst decision is, well, I think we need to get a drink. You know, there's one way to solve this uncomfortable feeling, and that's go to the bar. So when we start taking on identifying our defective thinking, our defective actions, it becomes a threat. And we see that happen right here in this meeting. Sometimes people will get to step 6, 7, 8, 9, and we start, the defects come up and they say, no, 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 I don't like this meeting. They're talking about that, and I can't handle that. It's too frightening. Okay, next person, go ahead, Ron. Read away.
I'm Ron, I'm an alcoholic. Humility brings hope. Now that we no longer patronize bars and bordellos, now that we bring home the paychecks, now that we are so very active in AA, and now that people congratulate us on the signs of progress, well, we naturally proceed to congratulate ourselves. Of course, we are not yet within hailing distance of humility. We ought to be willing to try humility in seeking the removal of our shortcomings, just as we did when we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol and came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. If humility could enable us to find the grace by which the deadly alcohol obsession could be banished, then there must be hope of the same result respecting any other problem we can possibly have. And it's from two places. First, Grapevine, June 1961, and the 12 and 12, page 76.
So this one's good. It's about early on congratulating ourselves. The problem with dissolving these character defects or character defective thinking is it does take time, and it is slightly stressful, but it can be done. And that's why we work here in a group, where sometimes we will have a conversation about, well, what is my go-to defective thinking? And but the worst part is, guys, is that the darn things will raise their ugly heads, not so much as an aberration, but more like, Jann, listen to me. I need to protect you here. Don't tell these people what a defective character is for you. They're going to use it against you. Watch it. That person has a knife. No, they don't. They might have a knife. They're trying to kill you. What? Don't talk about your defects. Don't even identify. That's not a defect. I'm here to protect you. You're here to protect me. What are you talking about? See that, so I mean, I don't know if anybody has those kind of conversations with yourself. So sometimes the defective thinking wins over. It'll take a person right out of an AA meeting and right into a bar room, or it'll do more things than who's watching the room, letting people in, watching the somebody maybe.
Oh, I am. Was Emily? I just want to make sure Emily didn't come back twice.
Oh,
She must
really?
have got kicked out. She must have got kicked out.
Who did? Who we didn't kick?
Emily.
We didn't kick her out. We like her.
No, I think
She
she
might
just.
be here twice. Somebody might have taken over her name.
Well, that's what I wanted to make clear.
That, you know, then we get Zoom bombers, you know, which make all the paranoia, you know, completely rational. All right, who's reading next? Go right ahead, Rebecca. I'm not paranoid.
Hi, Rebecca, alcoholic. Page 311, telling the worst. Though the variations were many, my main theme was always how god awful I am. Just as I often exaggerated my modest attainments by pride, so I exaggerated my defects through guilt. I would race about, confessing all, and a great deal more, to whoever would listen. Believe it or not, I took this widespread exposure of my sins to be great humility on my part, and considered it a great spiritual asset and consolation. But later on, I realized at depth that the great harms I had done others were not truly regretted. These episodes were merely the basis for storytelling and exhibitionism. With this realization came the beginning of a certain amount of humility. This is from Grapevine, June 1961. Ah, my birthday.
In a roundabout way, Bill is talking about this thing that I wrote in the in a text to the co-host group, which was actually, I'm going to ask Lisa. Lisa, can you grab my text and paste it in for everyone? Are you able to do that? It's on my phone and I can't grab it from my, well, I'm talking, so I'll ask you to just put it up. So one of the things that he's talking about here, and one of the things we try to avoid doing in this group is getting on the phone with somebody and then talking blah, blah, blah about everything that's wrong. Everything that's wrong with this meeting, everything that's wrong with Jann, everything that's wrong with that person, everything that's wrong with everything that's going on here. Because I don't like it. And I don't like it because it makes me uncomfortable. Well, it makes me uncomfortable too. I don't like it either. I think it's too controlling. And and what is it? God will remove my defects of character. I don't want to talk about them. And so that gets going. Once that becomes the large conversation, okay, you then have a reason to leave AA. You then have a reason, just what he's saying right here, have a reason to not go over the defects of character, identifying them, and then how do I dissolve them? Yes, prayer, identifying them, and then that's why, you know, I say do page 84 through 88, which, and Matt talks about doing that every day. It's identifying the defect, if I have one for that day, and asking God to resolve it. Here, are the, is it all up now, or you're still putting it up? Okay. So let's go to the next one. Who's the next person? Okay, Aaron, go ahead.
Okay, it is 301, correct? To rebuild security in our behavior, respecting financial and emotional security, fear, greed, possessiveness, and pride have too often done their worst. Surveying his business or employment record, almost any alcoholic can ask questions like these. In addition to my drinking problem, what character defects contributed to my financial instability? Did fear and inferiority about my fitness for my job destroy my confidence and fill me with conflict? Or did I overvalue myself and play the big shot? Business women in AA will find that these questions often apply to them too. And the alcoholic housewife can also make the family financially insecure. Indeed, All alcoholics need to cross-examine themselves ruthlessly to determine how their own personality defects have demolished their security. Sorry, and I forgot to say I'm an alcoholic.
Glad you're here. Okay, Lori, you're next.
I'm Lori. I'm an alcoholic. Page 281, ourselves as individuals. There's only one sure test of all spiritual experiences. By their fruits ye shall know them. This is why I think we should question no one's transformation, whether it be sudden or gradual. Nor should we demand anyone's special type for ourselves, because experience suggests that we are apt to receive whatever may be the most useful for our own needs. Human beings are never quite alike, so each of us, when making an inventory, will need to determine what his individual character defects are. Having the shoes that fit, he ought to step into them and walk with the new confidence that he is at last on the right track. This is from, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The Grapevine from July of 62 and the 12 and 12, page 48.
Okay, thank you. So here he talks about identifying what the defect is, and then what we have to, so let's say we have a defective action or a defective thought or a defective behavior. So then we need to come up with what is the opposite. So a defective behavior, defective thought would be, I always pick men who are bad, who are abusive and bad. It's just what I do. I don't know. I can't get over it. That's every relationship I've ever had. They always seem to be bad. I like bad boys, and it's like, oh, would you like being beaten up? No. But so what is that? It's just the way I am. Well, in AA, we say, what would you do differently? Okay. So I'll pick men who are not bad. Oh, but that's boring. Well, that's your mind talking. That is the mind that wants to protect the self talking. It thinks that you have to have bad men in order to survive. In order to survive. So we make defective choices based on survival. The mind's job is to protect the self or the person. In the alcoholic, we have defective thinking. I mean, we'll think, you go to the prisons loaded with people that if I didn't rob the 7-Eleven, I wouldn't have any money to buy food. And that's why I'm here, and it's 7-Eleven's fault. So when we get to the point of undoing defective thinking, it's quite the job, and it raises holy hell, I will assure you. All right, who's the next reader? Joe, go ahead.
Okay. Beneath the surface, page 258. Some will object to many of the questions that should be answered in a moral inventory because they think their own character defects have not been so glaring. To these, it can be suggested that a conscientious examination is likely to reveal the very defects the objectionable questions are concerned with. Because our surface record hasn't looked too bad, we have frequently been abashed to find that it is so simply because we have buried those self-same defects deep down in us under thick layers of self-justification. Those were the defects that finally ambushed us into alcoholism and misery. And 12 and 12, pages 53 to 54.
Okay, perfect. And who's next? Naaman, you're up.
Naaman, grateful to be a recovering alcoholic. After the honeymoon, page 216. For most of us, the first years of AA are something like a honeymoon. There is a new and potent reason to stay alive, joyful activity aplenty. For a time, we are diverted from the main life problems. That is all to the good. But when the honeymoon has worn off, we are obliged to take our lumps like other people. This is where the testing starts. Maybe the group has pushed us onto the sidelines, Maybe difficulties have intensified at home or in the world outside. Then the old behavior patterns reappear. How well we recognize and deal with them reveals the extent of our progress. The wise have always known that no one can make much of his life until self-searching becomes a regular habit, until he is able to admit and accept what he finds, and until he patiently and persistently tries to correct what is wrong. 1 letter, 1954, 2, 12 and 12, page 88.
Yeah, see, Bill was really on it here. He just completely understanding. I think what happens to us in a lot of AA meetings is we don't understand what this or how to do it, or how to do it. But we have to do it. We have to identify what these character defects are, and then I try to have them undo it. So sometimes here, let me read this here. Sometimes we think magical thinking will undo it. So will God help remove my shortcomings? I don't know what they are. And we think magically God's going to remove them. Probably not. So here, I wrote this a little earlier, and we can go through it. Lisa put it up to everyone. So I think, no, here, let me see. Where's the first part? Whoops. Oh, did you miss all? Did you get it all up or not? Where's Lisa? Did she go away?
I'm here.
Oh.
I think I got it all. Except for like names to.
Okay, so okay, here, this is what I was writing about with character defects and what affects people and drives them out. Or you could have taken the names out and let the text stay here. You have a look at this here. I think it's missing the whole first part. Okay, so this is what happened to some people. Yeah, the whole first part's missing it. Is in this meeting, when we get to step 6, 7, 8, and 9, and it's happened here several times, where we had some people leave, especially when they get to the point of doing service work or co-hosting. It becomes a threat to them. And like recently, we had 2 people leave co-hosting, and then we had 5 people 2 months ago, and then 3 years ago we had 5 people leave, and all of them hit a wall. Call it a wall of defect. And the way to avoid defective thinking is to, one, hang in here when things start to get rough. Secondly, you pray and use the pages 84 to 88, and then talk about it. Talk about what is going on. So the way you talk about it is kind of like what Rebecca was doing earlier, which is, well, I need to talk about this thing that's up. And that's what we do. If you bury it and don't talk about it, then you disappear. You leave the meeting, you'll leave AA, you'll ghost everybody, and you're gone. That resolves nothing. So you'll find people that they'll bounce from meeting to meeting. That's Stacy in. And it happens a lot. Here we try to confront it. Let's see here. The other part is, so we try to support people. We try to support people by talking with them about what is the defect of character that's driving what's going on now. So you can call somebody up and say, I don't like this meeting because they're doing this and they're doing that. But really what the real question is, what defective character in you has popped up that's become your defense mechanism because somehow this is a threat it's a perceived threat to yourself. You think your life is being threatened. That's the problem with alcoholics. The alcoholics, one of the principles of alcoholism is you can't live with it and you can't live without it. One basic character defect. If you take away my drinking, I'm going to die. And to prove that, you go through withdrawals, you have a stroke, and you die. It's like, oh, fuck, it's true. Then I better quit. I better keep drinking. And that's true with every other form of defective thinking. Let's go over to Jeff. Get your Jeff with 39 years. Always like to go to. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Jeff.
No, just Jeff alcoholic. Yeah. You don't outgrow the program. The program is going to outgrow us if we don't work it. We just have to keep going. You're always learning. It's for us to change, not the program. The steps. Not the steps are there. Sometimes we can get away from ourselves and away from the way we should be going because we're not working on the steps. And that AA does, to this day, in this day and age, lend itself to that problem. But if we take it back here to the steps, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's working on us, and we have to. It doesn't just go away. I mean, it wants to come back. But at least we have tools for it. I can recognize it in myself, and I've shared what I've done fifth step. I can get negative, because the glass half empty instead of half full, but I know what to do. I look to the steps, I change that quickly, and it works.
We have these operating principles. They are defective operating principles, or psychologists call them defense mechanisms. And it can come up with a million different things, like this meeting is dangerous, AA is dangerous, doing these steps is dangerous, I don't want to go in so deep, this is making me feel uncomfortable. Or we then go to magical thinking. Magical thinking is one of those things of, I will pray to God and I'll have God remove all my defects of character. But if you don't know what the defect is, how's he going to remove them? How do you, and the other side of that is, let's say you have a defective operating principle, which is, I don't like anybody in AA meetings, and I'm not talking to anybody in there either. And the reason I'm not going to do that is you can't trust them. And why can't I trust them? Because they're going to try to kill me. We don't think that on a rational level, we just think it. That's the defective thinking. So, when we're doing step 10, page 84, we have to come up with what is an opposite behavior or action. You've heard me, I said this to Lisa the other day. You come up with a new rule. My new rule is people in AA can be trusted, or they are here to support me. No one in AA is trying to kill me. My mind is doing the best job it can to protect me, but it's really kind of defective. Everybody following this part? We come up with an opposite action. I can never find a boyfriend that's decent because they are all abusive. And you change it to, I can find a boyfriend who is not abusive and who loves me and cares about me. That becomes your newest operating principle. And defects of character, all they are simply operating principles that we developed over a period of time. Alcoholics develop them in a crazed manner. So anyways, that's kind of what I was thinking about and writing about, but it's really where we are as a group. The whole darn group is in step 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then if you come to a point where you feel really, this is like, I don't like this meeting, I don't like Jann, I don't like what's going on here, I don't like how he talks to people, and I'm leaving. Well, where are you going? Because, where are you going, Jeff? That's the big question.
Jeff alcoholic. Yeah, could I add to that? Yeah. Let's go to the big book. Let's go to the steps, no matter what we hear out there in the rooms, because we hear some good stuff from the rooms, but the three things that you hear, and it's right in the big book. the cures. Oh, AA is a cult. No, it's not. Look it up, research cults and see what a cult is. Oh, AA tells me I really shouldn't bother with medicine or this. No, it doesn't. Read the big book. Okay. Oh, AA says really, it's AA or nothing at all. It doesn't, no, it doesn't. It tells you exactly you can use whatever help you need. These are three things that, we have to combat if we're working the steps and living our life out of the book here.
All right.
To help the
So,
people along. Yeah.
anyways, on here with character defects. Go ahead, Matt. What do you have to say about what I've been talking about here and what we've been reading?
No,
on
I
this-
mean,
on
I'm
this
sort
part?
of I'm in the middle of it on my progress here with 9 months, but I'm trying to get to a point where, um, focusing on steps 10, 11, 12, but focusing on page 84 to 88 and 86, where every day it sort of resets my mind in the morning first thing and sort of keeps me focused on those pages and what it's saying. Because otherwise, I think if I just take 2 weeks off, it'll just start wandering off into space.
It keeps you into good and right behavior, right? And
It
actions.
seems to. I mean, it seems to be because I've been doing it and it's working. So it seems to be working, and it definitely makes a difference for me because
Yeah, I
from
mean,
where I was 9 months ago, I never did it at all.
if you read pages 84 through 88 before you go to the Taylor Swift concert with your
That's right.
daughter, you're going to say the right things.
Yeah, and I will actually take her to the concert because you see, I'm trying to be, and then I'll have my gratitude list after that. I was
Yep.
able to go to the concert.
Did you get the bracelets?
No,
What do you mean? No, of course you did. You
I
don't,
never.
you didn't get the dad bracelets? What the hell's the matter with you? All right.
No.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
It's kind of a running joke for those of you who don't. Okay. Uh, let's go to, where's Erin? Are you here, Erin? There she is. Yeah, she's laughing. All right. How about you? What did you get out of everything we've read today and what I've been talking about?
Well, I've been pondering it over here. I'm trying to kind of read, I'm kind of trying to get what you're saying. I guess what you're saying is that's life, and you need to, that possibly the folks that just ghosted us were not confronting their character defects, so to speak.
Yeah, their character defects came right up. They came right up right at the time when we're talking about character defects.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, not me. The mind will do that. We don't do that consciously.
Oh, right.
The mind will come up and say, this is a threat. No, oh no, no. I mean, as soon as Bill has a hard time talking about it. He writes about it in here. Here we're addressing it head on. What is the defective thinking and what needs to be, it's down to making new rules for ourselves. How about you, Lisa?
I guess what I'm sorry, Lisa, alcoholic 130 days. I guess what I'm taking out of this is I don't know if it's the way I'm coping with all this, is just trying to react differently. If I'm finding myself in a defensive mode, I have to retrain my brain to rethink how I'm going to approach a situation, whether it's,
Exactly.
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and be able to only handle my reaction towards something, someone, some issue that I may not like at the moment, but just try to redirect and refocus how I react to something and what I can get out of something that's positive.
That's right. We'd start writing new rules for ourselves. Sam, you're up.
I'll push the muted button again. Sorry about that. Sam, grateful alcoholic. Yeah. So after reading what you had posted on the group chat, and also this discussion so far, I think it does come back to ego, not ego as in pride, but ego as in how we see ourselves, how we want the world to see us. And once we start seeing our defects, our character defects specifically, we get scared. We get that visceral like fear of, wait, I thought I was better than this. I'm the good guy in this story. I'm the main character. Nobody's the main character. We're all here trying to survive in this big world. And being able to be honest with ourselves and attest to the fact that we all have these issues and actually taking a deeper dive into those problems, it can be overbearing. It can
We
be
are
overwhelming.
definitely taking a deeper dive.
Exactly.
We're going deep.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk to Ron. Ron's been going deep for the past week. Thank you, Sam.
I'm Ron, I'm alcoholic. Well, what kind of stood out really is like the last one that we read to me was until I'm able to make it a regular habit, like Matt has described, he has a routine and he tries to look at it each day. I'm sure when I began taking an inventory each day that some of the same defects of character are going to crop up, and those are the operating principles I've been operating on for 40 years. They're going to repeat themselves, and until I'm willing to look at those and take the steps necessary to rid of them or allow God to, because I can't do it myself. If I could do it myself, I wouldn't be here. So
And
if
it's
I
like changing a giant ship. We're changing course. So we just can't, this behavior, it just doesn't snap change. You know, it takes what, 5 miles to turn an aircraft carrier around at 30
I do
knots?
have one question though for
Yep.
as the group here. So what if I do think that you talk too sharply to somebody? Do I just pray and meditate about that? Or do I bring it here and say, Jann, wow, you was pretty rough on that? Which I know, I mean, when you are rough on people, I know the bottom line is you're trying to save their life. But do I discuss that in here, or is that something
Well,
that I
you
put
you
down
send
on?
me a text. Let's
Okay,
say anybody else, if you felt they were being out of line, you write me a text.
okay.
You
Well,
take
I
it to
don't
the
have your
person.
number.
You have to write to the person
Oh,
individual.
okay. You
You
mean
write to the
text in
person.
here, not text
You
via
write to
phone.
the
Okay.
you write to the person individually. Um, but yeah, and the other thing too is, when people are really new, they're going to be. Who was it that said they're overly sensitive? Was that Sam? I think it was. Sometimes people are Aaron. Okay.
Yes, I've said people are oversensitive sometimes.
Yeah, and that's another excuse. Well, I'm too sensitive, and that's it on that. I'm getting out of here. As anything to not work through the 12-step process. Generally speaking, it's probably not me. Now, sometimes you will see me. I will talk to somebody who's just completely full of shit, and they're spinning everything possible you can imagine, and I'm just throwing it right back at them, and I'm like, you seriously, you want to cut that out, please? Uh, okay. Anyways, Ron, yeah, Ron, feel free to text me anytime. Uh, wait a minute, is that your farm behind you there? Is that the family farm?
No, it is a Kentucky farm. It is not my farm. I do live on a farm.
Oh,
Or
okay.
50 acres. It's not a farm.
Is that bluegrass right there?
That's probably in bluegrass country.
Okay. All right. And are you going to go to the Kentucky Derby when it comes up in March? April?
No, it's too much drinking goes on at the Derby for
Oh,
me.
that's right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be going there either. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Rebecca, you're up next.
Hi, Rebecca Alcoholic. Um, all I know is this meeting keeps me sober. And you do make connections with people here. And I think I want to know how you feel, Jann. I think um I think I want to know how you feel
About what?
about it's possible. Let's give people the benefit of the doubt that they have the tools and they do their meetings and they maybe don't want to go to this meeting. I'm not speaking about myself. I need this meeting. But I don't always want to assume that they're going to go out and they'll have their character defects blown up. So I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I don't know.
I don't.
Why?
not in this group. And the reason is this is a class. And here we're going 1 through 12 and we're hitting every single step right on the head. So I mean if somebody wants to go to another meeting and talk about their feelings or what's going on, all fine and well. In this meeting, it's your charge is to stay on point, um, because what we're teaching here is a basic 12-step process, how to do the 12. Jeff talks about it all the time. He talks about it constantly, how to do this 12-step process. And when somebody gets to a place where they're in a bind, I'll say, okay, let's push through this. If they don't want to push through it, they have two choices: either push through it and do the work, or they're going to bolt. Jeff.
Yeah, alcoholic, Jeff, alcoholic in Florida. Absolutely. You can't, there's no way around what we need to do, to work the steps. There it is. And, to drink is to die. And if I don't do that, I'm going to pick up a drink, So if we always look at it, like in casino and for Commissioner Webster, we kind of think of it along them lines, that's, yeah, let's just with it. And it's all growth. And you've hit on something. Number one, things don't change that quickly. The aircraft carrier story. We have spent our whole lives thinking alcoholically, exercising our alcoholism in our minds. It takes a while. We just got to stay with it and, get right. And then keep working on it.
The other thing, too, that Rebecca, that you said that I want to address is when a person gets to the point where you are, which is a co-host, a greeter, you've through all 12 steps, and you're coming to this meeting to be of service. You're a guest to stay sober, but also to be of service. So those of us who are hosts or co-hosts, we're to be of service to the new person, the person who's working through the early steps. We have a responsibility to them. I have a responsibility to every person in here. But if you're a co-host or a host like Matt or a co-host like you, we have a responsibility to that person to support them to keep doing the work. We don't support their them not doing the work. We don't support the excuse. We don't support the complaint. That's the danger. Because then say, oh, well, I have support. I have support for this. I have support for not working through my defects. I have a support for this meeting isn't right. I have a support for I don't like Jeff, and that's why I'm leaving the meeting. And the other person says, yeah, me either. I don't. Let's go. And we all go. Well, where are we going? We're going into the next brick wall. That's where we're going. So for those of you like Rebecca and Jeff and Lisa and Sam and Jann, hi, and Matt, uh, our charge is to support the people in doing what we need to do, because you're doing it until you crack. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. I'm having trouble with my raising my hand. So question on that. So you're a sponsor of this entire group. If
Yeah.
somebody is saying they have a sponsor and they're finding they did all these steps and they're still working with the sponsor, shouldn't we respect that? Or, again, as Rebecca stated, give them the benefit of the
That's
doubt
fine.
that they're still continuing?
That's fine. We don't really care. We say, have a sponsor, do whatever you want to. Just do what we're doing here. So we're going to give you steps 1 through 12. We're going to go through it, and you're going to get reading and writing assignments. Just do the work. So we don't even let that enter. Now, sometimes people will end up conflicted. I have my sponsor told me this or that. It's like, no. Don't bring that here. The only thing is, see, all that's going on here is a class. That's it. We're doing the coursework out of the big book and the other steps. It's pretty straightforward. That's why I often go back to Jeff. because he's done all, I mean, or anybody who's an old timer in AA, if they've done this work, they do it basically the same.